Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome on into the Swear Word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the Chilihead community, by the Chilihead community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Man, we have an amazing episode here tonight. 2 sauces on deck for Hot or Not. Some amazing, very inspirational stuff going on within the pepper community. And we're going to be talking to an amazing guest who has helped kind of curate and bring this thing to life, as well as a very fun game plan. So let's go ahead and start episode 94. Welcome on in, Swear Nation. So glad to have everyone here, whether you're rocking and rolling on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for being here and making the show what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where they can find everything to do with the world of hot. So up tonight, we have 2 amazing sauces on deck, or if you've seen Tuesday night's episode, you might understand why we have 2 of the same sauce here. So we'll be diving into both of these from Primo's Peppers in Hot or Not tonight, as well as we have someone who is just absolutely bringing some positivity to the pepper community as a whole. Individuals that like eating spicy and love to be able to find that fellowship together. We have Steve of Pepper Pals. We're going to be talking what Pepper Pals is, how it got started, how Steve got started with all this, and all the amazing things that he's been able to accomplish. And we're going to be diving into a very fun game as well, a very curated dual round of the 5. So remember, you can jump on in and let me know in the comments if you would have answered anything different than Steve does. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. Welcome on into Hot or Not. So glad to have everyone here. If this is your first time checking out Hot or Not, I do things a little bit different. I don't do a 1 out of 10. I do a 1 out of 5 scale. That's based off of heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, burn. I add those up, average them out, and that gives us our total swear word rating. Also, I do not like to read the ingredients on the products ahead of time. I like to let my taste buds do the exploration and really let my, taste buds really tell me what I'm picking up before reading it and being influenced by what's on the label. However, I have actually had both of these sauces here before. This one here is the older version, and this is the 2025 Ordinance Update. So, the 2025 Ordinance Update, if you watched on Tuesday night's episode where I had done a side-by-side review of Swampadelic in the same format, in the same manner, utilizing an older bottle pre-2025 ordinance to compare the heat and aroma and everything else that's going on in this, and really trying to see, is this hotter? Because Troy had informed me that the 2025 ordinance for Primo Army, Swampadelic, are both hotter that he noticed. So I had to pick up, of course, some bottles to do my own comparison. Here is, we'll go ahead and open up the older bottle of the 2 and get this one going. So some noticeable differences right off the bat that just seems slightly different is the 2025 Ordinance bottle actually has a slightly lighter green than the first run, if you will, one of the more original Primo Army sauce bottles. That's a slightly darker, deeper green, as well as you'll also notice the label says 1.5 because this was before Superhot announced the official ratings coming in at 1.79 million Scoville. So that is not the sauce. That is the pepper from the testings that were reflective of the show. This sauce, hands down, though, is arguably one of the hottest all natural hot sauces out on the market. So as you can see here, perforated on the cellophane, but I like to use my knife, so go ahead and give that a good cut and slide it on over. Give this a good shake. Now, both these sauces, or this sauce here, I should say, since it's the same sauce, is not one that you're going to want to just jump on into if you're just starting out. This is going to be a bit much. It's going to be this is geared towards those individuals that are constantly working on their own personal best. They're pushing themselves. They're looking for ways to continue to push themselves, but have tons of flavor. That is right here. That is Primo Army, without a doubt. So go ahead and open this one up. Absolutely love the aroma. Very pepper forward, but it also has this very deep, savory, almost earthy note that kind of comes through, and it reminds me of the consistency and the smell reminds me of like mixing it in with the pizza sauce as you're making like a spicy pie. Man, absolutely. What pops in my head. Love what's going on here. Get a nice hearty tablespoon. As you can see, it has nice flow, but it also has some good hold to this sauce. And wow. Very, very noticeable, very pepper forward. This is not, not something that you want to just jump on into. Be smart, use a little at a time, find out where you're comfortable, work your way up. Definitely one of those sauces that you need that warning. So, cheers. Absolutely amazing. Smooth, hot, great pepper body the whole way through. A kiss of vinegar, some great spices like tasting some spices that are going on in this. Man, absolutely phenomenal. Savory body, great pepper forward nature. Phenomenal flavor. I am salivating like crazy. Now, let's talk through heat. If you're just starting out, you're not going to be able to experience any of this. You're going to get completely burned away by this sauce. But if you're working on your own personal best, great body up front, great flavor, and then you start to carry into that phenomenal pepper notes that ramp up the heat. This fully encoats the mouth, latches on gums, tongue, lips, everything is just engulfed in flames. Then it parks itself really deep-seated on the back of your throat and just latches in and just cranks up the heat. Phenomenal sauce here. This is Primo Army from Primo's Peppers. I'm going to read the ingredients once because it's the same ingredients on both. Primo Army from Primo's Peppers. We have 7-pot Primo pepper mash of sugar, salt, honey, lemon juice, concentrate, spices, water, 7-pot Primo pepper powder, garlic powder, and onion powder. Absolutely phenomenal. The spices really carry forward. That citrus note pairs beautifully with these peppers. The super hot nature of these peppers, just utilizing that citrus note to really kind of crisp it out, make it bright, accentuate the overall super hot body profile to the sauce. Love what's going on here. Screaming hot. Hands down, one of the hottest, if not the hottest sauce out. But that's all natural. But let's go ahead and open up the next one. This is the 2025 Ordinance. Give it a good shake. Same, like I said, same everything from an ingredient standpoint. The only differences I see are slightly lighter in the label color. It's a lighter green, more olive, as to where the others maybe a darker forest, if you will. And then, of course, it also has the indicator on here that you'll notice 1.79 million Scoville. So that's to, once again, indicate the pepper testing that happened on Superhot. Now we have the 2025 Ordinance that has, supposedly hotter peppers, more angry peppers that are in here. So let's see, is the heat noticeable? Here we go. Much more bright, much more super hot aroma forward. But let's see, how does it stack up? Nice overall consistency. Once again, thicker sauce, nice hold. I could fit a little bit more on there. All right, here we go. Primo Army from Primo's Peppers. This is with 2025 ordnance. Let's find out if it's hotter. Wow. Very noticeable on the pepper flavor. The profile is so much more noticeable. Extremely bright, extremely crisp. It's as if these peppers they came to show up and do something. They came to really awaken a beast inside of you. The flavor profile is absolutely phenomenal. It brightens up those peppers. It really brings them forward with the 2025 ordinance, as well as it ramps up the heat. I mean, it is flogging the back of my throat. Very intense right now. Now, with that being said, it is the same as far as the crisp citrus cut that's kind of coming through there to accentuate those super hot pepper body. You're getting that same great spice flavor that's kind of going on in there, that onion, that garlic. It's just very much more elevated in that pepper body, heat, burn. Those areas have been tuned up a bit and absolutely loving it. That is Primo Army from Primo's Peppers. You know, there's a reason why this sauce, Swampadelic and Premonition, are always in my house. I absolutely love these sauces. Go phenomenal on just about everything. And a must-have if you're constantly working on your own personal best, or you're a chili head that really likes to burn yourself up. That is, arguably the hottest natural hot sauce that I've had. So go ahead, head on down to the description, grab yourself a bottle of Primo Army 2025 Ordnance. Grab that, light yourself on fire. Let me know what you think of it, as well as I'll have the direct link to the main site so you can check out the full lineup of products from Primo's Pepper. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the interview. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
And just fine. How about you?
Man, doing good. Glad to have you here. I've heard such amazing things from Gary about you, and so glad to have you here and get to know you better.
And it's a pleasure being on. I've heard the same things about you from Gary as well.
Well, thank you. And, one thing I always like to lead off, the icebreaker, if you will, is always what got you into the world of hot? And then in your case, what had you motivated to start Pepper Pals?
Well, I kind of discovered early on that I had a kind of a tolerance for spicy food, but back then it just wasn't as developed as it is nowadays. So I didn't really kind of pursue it because I'm not one that's a fan of vinegar. And back then when I was younger, that's pretty much what every hot sauce was a whole lot of vinegar. So I just didn't really get into it. But over the last I'd say 10 or so years, people have been kind of developing sauces with more flavor profiles in it than vinegar. So I kind of picked it back up over the last handful of years. Um, and really kind of a handful of years ago, with my daughter kind of unfortunately picking up the dating scene more and more, she was spending less time at the house, and so I kind of wanted something else to fill up my time, and just kind of I was sitting on the couch one day and just go, I really wanted to do the Blazin challenge at Buffalo Wild Wings, but I just didn't want to do it by myself. So I kind of took to Reddit and just, the local subreddit from my hometown, and then just went on there and asked if everyone wanted to do the Blazing Challenge with me. To my surprise, two people responded and said they wanted to do it as well. And we picked a date and a time, and we met up there. I've never met them before in my life until that day. And we showed up. We had a really good time doing it. And we decided that night that we wanted to stay friends and continue doing the exact same thing, but instead of at um, a chain restaurant, do it at local restaurants. because this was also not, this was a time right, well, not right after, but most restaurants were still recovering from the COVID lockdowns and everything. So we wanted to try to help our hometown as well and all the local small businesses out. So we wanted to do that as well, help out the small businesses. And I thought that would be a good way of doing it. So created the group, started off on Reddit, expanded out to Facebook and some other platforms. And that's pretty much how I got started.
Very nice. That sounds like a lot of fun and super interesting because like ultimately, I guess let me pump the brakes real quick because something connected with me almost pretty immediately. So I have three kids of my own as well. My oldest is my son Daniel. He's about to be 16 this year. So and then I got a 6-year old and a 4-year old. Both of those little ones are my daughters and. The day that happens for me is going to be as I'm sure it was for you, a bit heartbreaking. So definitely connect with you on that, right? First and foremost. But then good on you as well to take on this brave new world that is connecting with people online and even going a step further and meeting them in person like that. That ultimately does kind of take a whole nother level of courage in its own right. But to then find these folks, burn with them, enjoy the evening, and have that develop into friendship is very cool to hear and see, and just the positivity from it.
It is. I've definitely made some really good friends through this group. Some that I'll talk to every couple of days. Some on a daily basis. We'll go to each other's houses. We'll have pretty much bonded over the spicy capsaicin kick, whatever you want to call it. And we've become really good friends through the group and everything. So it's yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's good
definitely.
bonding.
I can absolutely agree there. So many of these places they'll do wing challenges and all this other stuff, but very few seem to deliver a decently tasting and decently hot wing. Buffalo Wild Wings seems to do a pretty good job at that compared to say its competitor, Wingstop, which is their hottest is really just poor tasting in my opinion comparative of the two. So yeah, you're fortunate enough to be also within close proximity of say why am I blanking on the name of the ramen shop that has the Primo bowl? Is that correct?
Unfortunately, not.
Not okay.
But I wish. I wish. But luckily enough, thanks to Gary, we have enough primo peppers in this house, and that I can get my fix pretty easily.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
then we have someone in our group now that she just was bored one day and decided to make a hot sauce. And so, but she makes it's a fresh hot sauce, so there is no vinegar or anything in it whatsoever. So, but on that case, it is a fresh sauce. It's not shelf stable, so it has to be refrigerated. If you don't plan on eating it within like 3 weeks, it does need to be frozen. Um, but it's a really good sauce. And the new version of the sauce actually is made with just of the primo pepper in it. Um, and so it's yeah, we've been known to show up to restaurants with the sauce in it, and that was actually her dog that you just scrolled past.
Nope.
Um, yeah, her dog is yeah, knows not to touch anything she makes with the primo lala sauce in it that she makes.
No, I have heard amazing things about this sauce from Gary. He's mentioned it quite a few times, and then so whenever Gary introduced me to the group, is whenever I started looking into the sauce and kind of seeing what was going on. And I mean, it looks like she's very into, well, like, I don't know if maybe that's her main, 9 to 5, if you will. Her main passion is art, but she seems very gifted and skilled in many ways and avenues in the art realm. So
That's actually not her. Her first side hustle was art. Her 9 to 5 is actually at a hospital here in town. Um, she's just a very creative person, and so she does a lot of resin creations, and that's what you have up on that screen. She likes to do art that you can touch and feel, and kind of break the rules of a normal art gallery kind of thing.
yeah.
And so that's one of her things is she likes to do break the rules of traditional things. And so hot sauce, I guess, was the next thing on her list. I met her during last year's Fourth of July pepper eating contest, and that's how I got introduced to her and her husband.
Very nice. Okay. Now, I've seen this happen, or be posted quite a bit. The different glowing sauce that's going on. So what's happening in this photo for all those that are watching and listening?
All right. So, well, as the previous picture you had up there, it has a little chicken that was glowing, and so all of her artwork glows in the dark. And then so when she was at doing one of the night markets that had her hot sauce up there, her daughter said, "Well, I can't see your hot sauce at night." And she goes, "You need to put some the glow in the dark pigment in it." So she found some pigment that's food quality, food safe that you can eat. And then so she started adding that to the hot sauce, the same color as the kind of hot sauce, and that's kind of how she started doing making it glow. So what you're looking at is one of the restaurants that we frequent 2 to 3 times a year, and they made a flatbread pizza, and we were introducing them to the Primo lava sauce that she made, and what's glowing green is what she calls her OG sauce, and that she put on top of it. It doesn't have a lot of spice to it, but it's got a lot of flavor to it. And so we were kind of experimenting, making some different recipes, possibly for another event that's coming up in the next couple of months. And so we were there with one of the co-owners of that restaurant, kind of trying it out.
Okay. Now, as far as y'all, how often do y'all end up going to different events like this, like or restaurants, if you will, to kind of put these gatherings together to really like burn and enjoy and just continue to build that fellowship?
At least once a month. We do take December off, so everyone can spend time with their families, and kind of, as we say, spend time with your families, let your body heal, do things like you want to do like that. But we're getting to the point now where we're trying to do one, at least one event every month, if not two events, because we're starting to get 30 people show up to the events getting the spicy meal. And then we have, significant others are coming with their family, and then so they're not getting the spicy meal. So there's some events that we have 40, 45, maybe 50 people that are showing up to these restaurants. So we're trying to take it another step and getting some months we'll have two events, some months we'll have one event. But right now, the weather's kind of bad, and so we're kind of taking it step by step. We were supposed to have an event last weekend, actually, yeah, last weekend, and we're supposed to have an event this coming up Saturday, and we had to cancel both of them because of weather.
Wow.
So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's got to be. You mentioned it earlier, like really kind of helping these businesses, small local businesses, really grow and thrive. It's got to be super exciting for these business owners to know that y'all are coming there not only to support them, but then obviously y'all are sharing this online, your experience with others, whether that just be with close immediate friends and family that may see that crossover as well as within the group. So they gotta at least love that. How's that receptive nature going for that process?
it, it was really difficult at first, because people, we weren't very big. People didn't know about us. Now that it's kind of growing and we've had more exposure, it's getting a little bit easier. But yeah, have to talk, sit down and talk with, the manager or the owners of the business of the restaurant, and help try to comfort them, reassure them. It's like, look, everyone that shows up knows that they're not going to get a refund if they say it's too spicy or too hot, so you don't have to worry about that. We do set a price limit, trying to make sure that everyone can shows up can afford it. So we try to post everything. I don't ask for anything from these restaurants that we show up to. I don't charge them anything. I don't ask for a free meal. I don't ask for anything from them. I do all the advertising. I say advertising. I mean, I'll post it on Reddit, on Facebook, on Instagram, anything that I can to try to get it out there. And help them do that. And then I asked them if they would do it on their page as well to help more people show up and things. So I do what I can to help work with the restaurants and help get the word out there and get as many people to show up. And then we'll post as many videos as we can, the pictures of the food that we can, and then like you pretty much said, it just gets more people out to these restaurants that are the local family owned ones that they may not have the budget to do commercials for. They may not have the budget to do advertising, and so with us showing up and then that many people are like, oh man, I didn't even know this place existed. So it's like, okay, well now you do. And
Yep.
so it's like now go back to this restaurant afterwards, and then now you know what they're capable of. So now you don't have to go there and get this spicy food, but you can go bring back your family or share it with your friends, and it's help keep our neighbors, the people in our neighborhood and stuff, help keep their business going and everything. So, and
Yeah.
it at the same time helps those the chefs that are in there, helps them kind of flex their abilities and things like that. What was that? I think last month we went to a Thai restaurant, and that chef was just ecstatic that we let her just go wild. I mean, we set some very basic ground rules, and then besides that, one of them is let the chef be creative, let them have fun. And they're like, "What? You're not going to tell us what to cook?" I'm like, "No, I'm not a chef."
That
So it's just like let your chefs have fun, let them have fun.
Yeah, definitely. That's very very cool to hear. That's something I was actually just about to ask. So kind of really glad that it just naturally kind of occurred that way. But it was really I was starting to get curious if these are preset meals that they already have like on their menu. Are they cooking something off script? Are they just like what are you bringing like sauce and powder to them, or are y'all using that after the meal has been cooked?
So it can go either way. So some of the restaurants we go to, they'll go, okay, well, we'll pick some things, and then we'll just amp it up. We'll add extra seasoning to it. We'll add extra stuff, extra sauces to it, and make it spicier for you guys, which is perfectly fine. We just tell them you can't add vinegar to it. And I think I've already mentioned that. You can't add cayenne pepper to it just to make it spicier. To me, that's just kind of cheating. You actually have to use different ingredients and things like that. Um, and we keep the price point right around $20. If it's a fancier restaurant, we'll do a little bit more because we understand the restaurant's still got to make some money. But then, we tell them to be creative and have fun with it. So most of the time, some restaurants are like, well, and I understand they don't want to overbuy and then be stuck with all this extra food and things that they may not sell. So understand. So some restaurants are a little hesitant and they'll pick something from the menu and then just kind of ramp it up a little bit for us. But there's some that are still kind of hesitant and hold back. So we still do show up with some extra hot sauce and things for just in case reasons. Um, and I understand, some of the restaurants don't are a little scared, if we haven't been there before and they don't want to scare people off. So, I mean, we understand.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It makes sense that they would want to play it safe. Definitely, if they're, obviously they're not shutting down the restaurant for y'all. So it's really, they still have to. They probably can't go too crazy with some of these cooks because they don't want to gas out. I mean, I know I've done it here in my own house, cooking, gas out my own family with cooking with Superhots. They don't necessarily want to do that to not only those that are working in the back, but also those that are there to eat a non-spicy meal. So definitely understand that. As far as the dishes that you have had the pleasure to eat so far, has there been one that's just really either wowed you or blown your socks off?
Man, it we've had a few of them. It's kind of hard to narrow it down to just one. Um, I mean, we've had, you know, I mean, there's a couple of them. I mean, everything from spicy coleslaw, which you just you think about it and you're like, coleslaw shouldn't be spicy, but when he brought it out to us, it was like red, kind of like the almost red like the crawfish on my shirt. That's how red it was, and it was like ice cold, which coleslaw is. But then it fools you,
Yep.
and then you eat it, and then you're just like, oh, okay. Um, then kind of like we've also that same restaurant did beignets, but they also melted down some chocolate with some secret spices inside of it and injected the beignets with that. That was really good. We had one restaurant, the one that you showed with those flatbread pizzas on it. They did a spicy wagyu shepherd's pie for us.
Oh, wow.
That was really good too.
That sounds amazing. And the idea of spicy coleslaw, it's funny you say that because I was actually talking about this on the last episode about how, utilizing different spice blends to wake up your coleslaw and really bring it to life can be a game changer. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit odd, but I love to, whenever I have the chance, if it's a burger, a sandwich, it doesn't matter. I like to, if I can substitute out, say, the very played out, boring lettuce and sub in some spicy coleslaw in its spot, brings that great crunch, that kind of freshness, but then that heat along with it. It's just, there's something to it that just draws you back in for more.
You're completely correct on that. I'm normally not a huge coleslaw fan, but when that restaurant made it for us, it was a homemade coleslaw and it was that spicy. I couldn't stop eating it.
Yep. Yep. Same here. I'm the last person to touch coleslaw. Now, if I make it or I see someone else make it and I know what's kind of going into it, I'm all for it. A lot of the pre-made stuff that you can get from the store, all that like I won't touch it. I'll if we go out to Raising Cane's where they're very known for giving you that coleslaw. I always ask them just substitute it out for extra sauce, and I'll just spice up the sauce, right? But yeah, there's something to making it and putting it together with a nice spicy, whether you're using fresh pepper, which I've done that too, slicing very thinly super hots and layering in there. That is so good too because it's deceiving. You think you're just going to get only a carrot in there, and oh no, you've awakened a beast. So,
Yeah, it's great whenever you look at a food and you're like, there's no way this can be spicy, or it doesn't look spicy whatsoever, and you don't think that's going to be spicy. And then you take a bite out of it, and then you get a couple of good good crunches out of it, and then you're like, oh, there it is.
yep, yep, I love it. Now
And
the
especially all the pollen and everything, it really helps clean up my sinuses.
oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see that. I like to do the same. If I'm ever having a lot of sinus pressure, head pressure, I like to just and take in an insane amount of spice to help just kind of flush and clear me out. Um, it's definitely the way to go. Now, as far as this group is growing. It's a very nice sized group as far as everything that's everyone that's in here. Everyone's active. They're participating. You have a great thing going here. Is this something that is only exclusive to Louisiana, or do y'all have people that are in other states that are hosting their own different hubs or satellites to this?
So as of right now, it's only in Louisiana. It's
Okay.
only in the Fort Bossier area as of right now.
Okay. Is that something that is that just because ultimately this is kind of like a, well, I guess until now, or more people are learning about it. Is this just been kind of like ultimately a very word of mouth type of group that how it's kind of grown perpetually?
Pretty much. It's you know, and until now, we have been in our local newspaper. We've been in the local news. But as far as getting outside of our local area, yeah, we have not broken out of the local area before. So
Okay. Well, this is something that I I think is phenomenal. Like, kudos to you for putting this on, making this thing what it is, and what it is, like growing it out to be what it has become. The positivity, the camaraderie, the friendships that have been built, just from what I've heard. Like, this is a part of that element to the fold of just the overarching, uh, you know, whether you want to view it as like the pepper community, hot sauce community, etc., has been it's the core essence, but like it's also been lacking as of late. There's been a lot of just divisiveness. Ultimately, it's the product of today's environment. Everyone's very focused on the me. The ego is really kind of the big thing, and this just basically throws that to the wind and says, "Look, this is what happens when people come together for the love of capsaicin and just friendship."
that that's also kind of what I really wanted to do as well. As this group kind of took off, as kind of wanted to show what could be accomplished, if people work together, and instead of trying to work against each other, what could be accomplished and things like that. So
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, as far as the overall group's heat tolerance preference, is everyone kind of about on par with one another? Or there's some that are maybe just starting out, or some that are just like they can go pretty full tilt on this?
honestly, there's people that are pretty much all over the place, really, to tell you the truth. Um, we have people that have really extreme tolerances. Um, the co-owner of that restaurant where we're trying those flatbreads out, him and his daughter, they, they can sit there and just take these hot sauces. And I thought I had a pretty good tolerance until I sat down with them. And his daughter is probably 10 or 11, I think. And if she enters that pepper eating contest this year, yeah, I know I'm going to lose. Um, and so it's just we just there's it's just really all over the place. I mean, and we do our best to try not to isolate people. And we do have I say rules, but we do tell people, you don't tease people about not having a tolerance. We want it to be a friendly group. We want it to be an open group, a welcome group. So we do make it, that make sure that we try to do our best to make sure everyone feels welcome.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. That idea, or the idea for that question, really kind of sparked in my mind of, as you're going to these restaurants and you're having these chefs put on these meals, are you essentially giving them the guidance that, say, like, just as an example here, um, if Bob is at a 10 on his meal, I want mine to be the equivalent of a 6? Or, like, do y'all give him any kind of guidance per person, or how does that tend to work out?
No, we really tell them to be, make it as spicy as you want. If we go to, say, like a Thai restaurant, they'll have like normally 1 through 10.
Hmm.
um, we'll tell them to go ahead and make it a true 10, especially like a true Thai 10. And then we do try to make it as easy as possible in these restaurants and say, just, we're all going to order the same thing, and we're all going to order the same spice level. So you can all just have everything, the same thing. Um, so we don't do different spice levels when it comes to it. So we do try to make it as easy as possible on the restaurant. But we, when doing that, we do try to also keep in mind that everyone does have a different tolerance level. Um, so yeah, it can be a little difficult sometimes, but there is a balance somewhere. But like I told you, you saw the kind of that bag that Chung had on
Mhm.
the table, and that's kind of what she brings every time, and that's some of her sauces that she made. And then I'll bring some hot sauces that I'll, if I'm somewhere and I see something that catches my eye, I'll buy some and then I'll bring it as well for everyone to try. Yep, that's the picture right there. And those are the two ice packs that she keeps in the center. Like I told you, it's a fresh sauce, so it needs to be kept cold as best as you can. So she'll, when we'll go, if she's with me, she'll bring that bag, and then we'll go and try some stuff, and we'll let some of the restaurants try it. Yeah, that's her, myself, and one of the co-owners of the restaurant that I was talking about,
Okay.
Noble Savage. I'll give you the name of that restaurant in downtown Shreveport. But we'll go and let them try it. Some of them are willing to try it. Some of them are not. They'll get one of their chefs to try it or something,
Yeah.
and then let them go off of that and just try it, and then let
Okay.
them be as creative as they want to.
Okay. I like it. I feel like it's almost unnecessary to ask, given the fact that you're very familiar with the Primo pepper, and it sounds like you use it pretty often. But where is your personal tolerance at, and is there kind of a heat range that you prefer to be around, say, for an everyday use?
I mean, I do enjoy the primo pepper. I can't really eat it every day, but I do enjoy eating it. And then like the primo lava sauce, I'll eat that a couple times a week and try different things. The regular lava sauce, which is right there on the left, I'll eat that a couple times a week as well. That lava sauce is probably a 7 out of 10, I'd probably say. The Primo lava sauce is probably a 9 out of 10, getting up around in there. So, you know, I know I'm not too terribly old, but I can't do it as often, those sauces as often as I used to be able to. But
Yeah.
still,
Being able to build a tolerance, that journey that you take, it essentially it does become a very personalized journey. And to that same point, which you mentioned before, which is like don't badger someone for their tolerance or give them a hard time. It is 100% true because if you go that route of just constantly giving people a hard time for it, one, they're probably going to start shutting you out first and foremost. But then, second of all, they might even go to the extent of like, well, I don't want to try to eat spicy anymore. And that's like the one of the last things you really want to do is disrupt someone else's journey. And the great part about it is, I'll speak to myself here. It's like I know that I have a pretty natural high tolerance, but it still ebbs and flows. And when it gets down lower than, say, I normally like to sit around, it's still such a fun journey to work back up to that because you get to appreciate and run through the paces on things that you might not have experienced in like a year or so. And it's a blast to be able to do that. So,
it
you know,
really is. Especially when you start collecting a whole bunch of sauces, you may not have touched the sauce in a handful of months, and then you go back and you go, "Wait, I haven't tried this one in a while." And then you go back and try it, and you're like, "Oh yeah," and you kind of fall back in love with that sauce again.
yep,
It's kind of
absolutely.
nice. That's one of the good things about having a good rotation of sauces is, you may forget about one for a little bit, but when you rediscover it again, it's good to find it back again.
Yep. Yep. Well, with that being said, now obviously you're blessed to be able to try some craft sauce that is not readily available to the public. But as far as the off the shelf or able to order for like everyday use, is there a sauce that has really either held the test of time for you or one that you tends to be your favorite?
Well, I may be a little biased, especially since I am wearing a Louisiana crawfish shirt. But I'm gonna go with Troy's Primo sauce. Um, I don't want to call it basic, but it's a good standard sauce. And I'd like to put it on just kind of like some random things. And it's just a good staple sauce for me.
Yep. No, you're definitely preaching to the choir here. I as well. It's if my house, I think I've had over the last since 2017, I think. Yeah, since 2017 to now, I've only had one time frame where I was down to one bottle in my house, and it was like I was nursing it until that next package arrived, and never wanted to feel that again. And so I made sure never I had like I always ordered ahead of time. So yes, any of the sauce, premonition, the triple X premonition, the swampadelic, the primo army, everything's got to be in the house and on tap. And my wife's request is always the farmer's daughter strawberry cayenne. That is her absolute favorite. I like to use that as well, but I like to pair that with I'll make a spicy PB&J. And instead of typical jelly, I'll use the farmer's daughter jelly. I'll still sprinkle in some pepper powder and a few other things just to kind of ramp it up and make some fun out of a typically boring peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
So
that's one
absolutely
of those
agree.
we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild. And I always try to tell everyone this, and it now obviously it's not falling on deaf ears here because you think the same way, but so many people are unfortunately limited by their own creativity instead of trying and exploring and adding spice to all kinds of things. So is there a typical cuisine? I mean, obviously, maybe Cajun, but is there a typical cuisine that is kind of the one your preferential go to when eating spicy food?
I'm a huge fan of Thai food.
Okay.
So if I'm not eating something from Louisiana, like a Louisiana staple food, then yeah, it'll be Thai food, my default spicy food.
Yep. It's got a nice pop of heat. It's nice and fresh, easy on the digestive system as a whole. It's a very great option. I can definitely agree there. Okay, okay. Let me do this as well. I'm gonna let's see here. Yep. All right. Cool. We are still moving. I was just making sure the game was locked and loaded. We do have a very fun game ready to go, and so we'll jump into that here in a second. But as far as um, you know, just this whole, I guess the Pepper Pals to start. Is it just solely consolidated on Facebook these days, or are you still managing it in multiple locations?
Still managing on multiple locations. Facebook's still the largest platform, social media platform that it's on. Um, it did start on Facebook, but I just noticed for whatever reason that's just where it took off the most. So that's where the most people have joined. So that's where it is.
Okay. And because there's gonna be quite a few people that are able to catch this and learn about Pepper Pals as a whole. Like, is there something they should know whenever they're getting ready to join? Obviously, the geographical area at which Pepper Pals exists is one thing, but is there anything else that they need to know whenever evaluating jumping in and joining the group?
I mean, not really. Like I said, I mean, we're just a group of fun people. I mean, we just have a good time and enjoy spicy food. I mean, you can look us up on Facebook and join the group and just jump on in, enjoy the conversations. I mean, we meet here in the Shreveport Bossier area in Louisiana, which is Northwest Louisiana. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be in this area to join the Facebook group. Just to meet with us, you would need to be in this area because I doubt people would want to fly in just for a 1 day thing. Now, later on, we may have some bigger events, since we are getting bigger and things like that. But you never know what's coming down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. No, that makes perfect sense there. Now, as far as with eating spicy, with the level and caliber at which you do eat the spicy foods in general, do you also partake in, say, any of these other challenges that roll out or come out? Have you dabbled in any of that?
I've done some of them. Some of them catch my attention. Some of them do not. Like that, the one chip challenge. I tried that. A couple of us did from the group. But that just it has no taste. It just tastes like crap. There's no redeeming qualities whatsoever to it. We actually one of the people that met me the very first time, that was kind of her downfall. It was during that one chip, and she started kind of tapering away after that. And so we kind of readdressed some things after that. We're like, okay, well, maybe we should rethink about some things. And so we made a promise that we'd never do like the one chip challenge again. Start kind of reevaluated things about like, all right, we mainly need to do this for the taste of things, not just for views or clicks or likes or whatever you want to call
Hmm.
it, or things like we we just need to make sure we stay on the right path of doing things for the quality of the food and for to bring people into these restaurants and stuff like that. Of course, we did do it at one of the local breweries here, so we still were bringing people to it, but still, it wasn't on par for us. So we just kind of didn't do it. My wife's gotten me a couple of things before, like the world's hottest gummy bear. Whether it is or not, I don't know. But I tried it. I tried it with my daughter. It was a little interesting because it stuck. I don't know if you tried it before, but
Yep.
it kind of stuck to my teeth. It was like the gummy bear that kept on giving. 15, 20 minutes later, you would have a bit fall off your teeth, and you're like, oh, I don't. Oh, okay. Like, I guess we're revisiting this gummy bear again. It's like after I think 30 minutes, I ended up just going and brushing my teeth, just trying to get everything out of my teeth and things like that. I mean, it just that stuff to me, it just doesn't taste very good to me. So I understand why they're making it, but it's not really for me very much. I can see why people do it, but I want stuff that tastes good, that has flavor to it, that has that I want to continue eating, not that just makes me that I'm trying to do a challenge. I don't want to do something like that. If there has good flavor to it, good taste to it, things like that, I don't mind doing the challenge. But if it just tastes like crap, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the one chip is uh as far as Pocky is like concerned, before everything obviously now has gone away. That was I've said this before, but it's probably their worst offering of a product out there from a flavor standpoint. Absolutely atrocious.
I
Their
agree.
ghost pepper one, pretty solid. They have some other flavors that are pretty solid, but always ended up having to shake in some pepper powder and fold the bag and shake it up and get it nice and incorporated. But the same thing, the gummy, it has extract. It's not necessarily the greatest taste. It's not the worst either. I've had some others that are pretty atrocious. And yes, there's another ramen noodle challenge that's kind of playing on the same coattails, if you will, of the one chip challenge that hands down was absolutely repulsive. I completed the challenge and immediately hated myself, closed the video before even caring to upload it, and just like got it out of my system because I did not want to hold that nastiness down any longer. And the worst part was it wasn't even the fact that it was hot. I mean, it was hot, but it wasn't the fact that it was hot that ended up causing me to want to rid myself of it. Um, it was just such a poor flavor, and the after effect in the mouth, like that just lingering taste, was so metallic and disgusting. It was just not pleasant. So I do agree. I think challenges as a whole, as of recent, have been getting better about trying to incorporate good flavor into the heat. I think companies and or the people that are coming out to make these things are starting to understand that the general scope, if you will, of individuals that do participate in these challenges want something that at least tastes good. It's not just, heat for heat.
Yeah. So we have a barbecue place that's here in town that they started doing what they call, I say they call, apparently it's a nationwide challenge called the Diablo Challenge. So you're supposed to do six whole wings within 6 minutes. And then after that, you have to wait 6 minutes before you can eat or drink anything. I've been told the sauce is really good, but my issue is as soon as they take the wings off the smoker and they toss them in the sauce, they put them down in front of you and the time starts right then, right there.
Oh no.
So yeah, I've watched a couple of videos of people doing it, and they will live stream it when these people are doing it, and you can see them when they'll break the wing apart and you see the steam coming out. So these people are trying to eat these wings at the same time that they're cooling them off, and it's just like I don't want to burn my tongue, or the roof of my mouth. It's bad enough that you're gonna eat some insanely spicy sauce, but to have it fresh from the smoker, fresh from the cooker as well,
Yep.
I'm not going to torture myself like that. If you
Yep.
let me get it down a little cooler, then maybe I could do it, or would do it. But right off the smoker and you still get steam coming off of it,
Yep.
that, that's a little too much for me.
I'm right there with you. I've burnt the ever loving crud out of my mouth growing up as a child, trying to eat stuff that was fresh out of the oven, and learned the hard way. Now to this day, I if something's just too temperature hot, I'll walk away and not even mess with it. Same thing. It sounds a bit odd. A lot of people think it's weird, but I don't like my coffee scalding hot. So the second that it's brewed and it's ready to go, sure, it smells great. I'll leave it there. I'll go get ready for the day and get dressed. And then by the time I'm, getting ready to head out the door, I'll set it in my cup holder, and then I wait until I exit my neighborhood before I take my first sip, just to make sure it's still warm. It's still got some nice heat, but it's not scalding hot. And it's for that same exact reason. There's no reason to wreck your taste buds over heat of an item that you're eating.
Exactly.
Well, let's do this. Let's jump on over to the game. I have a very fun feeling that this will be a great game for us to play.
All right.
All right, so here we go. We have a very fun iteration of the five. Now, if this is your first time checking out the show and you're like, what is the five? I'll go ahead and break it down for you. There is on the left hand side of the screen, you see the numbers 1 through 5. That is your ranking order. Now, 1 could be the best, or 5 could be the best. However you want to weight these is fully up to you. It just has to go in either ascending or descending order in rank. And as I show these items, there will be one image at a time. You have to assign it then, and we cannot change it. We will discuss afterwards if you would have changed it, but that is how this is played. And because it is a relatively fast game, I have made 2 rounds of this. So most of the time, people learn the very first time, kind of how errors of their way potentially, or ways that they can improve how they're going to play the next round. So up first, we have the cayenne pepper.
Oh, I'm gonna put that at number 5.
All right, number 5 it is. I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down so it fits here. And we're going to grab the next one. Hatch chili.
Ooh, okay. That's a pretty good flavor to it. Not the spicy in the world, but still got some good good flavor to it. I'll put that at 3.
All right. Fair enough. Next up, we have the 7-pot Primo.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put that at number 1.
There we go. I may have showed you that one early on just so that you didn't walk yourself into a bad spot. So, next up, we have this is just to represent Thai chilies. So,
Okay, I'll put that at 2.
all right. Number 2 it is. And last but not least, it is number 4, regardless, the jalapeno. I think that was a very safe play. So the order has shaken out as number 1, the 7-pot Primo, number 2, the Thai chili, number 3, the Hatch chili, number 4, the jalapeno, and number 5, the cayenne. Would you have changed any of these?
I would not. I That's pretty much what I would leave it at. It's something about that cayenne pepper. You add too much of it, it just makes your food kind of gritty and doesn't have a good flavor to it to me. I don't have anything against cayenne. It's just you add too much to it. It just doesn't taste right to me.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy with that order.
Okay, okay. I like it. I will say that the only Kai, well, not the only. There's a few that I somewhat enjoy, but the one that just like absolutely love eating fresh is what they call either the yellow or the golden. It's essentially the same thing. Cayenne, man, is the citrusy, fruity nature to that phenomenal. Sure, it loses a little bit in heat compared to say a standard red cayenne, but oh my goodness, from a snacking pepper, sandwich pepper, that's a ticket right there. All right, so here we go. We have round number 2, same game, same order of operations, new images. So up first, we have this is just to represent Asian food as a whole. Where would you like this one?
Oh, Asian food.
Yep,
Ooh,
Asian cuisine.
Pretty difficult. Because I don't know what else you're gonna bring up, and I already told you that I'm a big fan of Thai food. So I'll put that at 2 for right now. I'll play it safe.
All right, I like it. This could that could have been a very smart play because I know what I have, and that might stand out to you. Indian food up next.
Ooh, Indian food is good. I'll put that at 3.
All right, but the real question becomes: is that the best? Up next, we have soul food. So Southern comfort soul food.
Oh man, you're making this really difficult. You do a 2.5.
Unfortunately.
No, I guess put that at 4. I
All right.
mean, yeah,
It would be a real shame if one of these was horrible.
yeah.
All right. And then we have Cajun food.
Um, yeah, you can put that as a 1.
Number 1.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. I think you just made a smart move here. And last but not least, number 5 is tacos. So Mexican food.
Man, this is really difficult. I mean, I do like good Mexican food.
You know, this is the
What's around in here?
yeah, this one was deliberately going to be harder solely because obviously Pepper Pals being food centric around the idea of adding capsaicin and friendships and bonds, and all of these cuisines lend themselves phenomenally to adding some spice to your life. Now that everything's set, would you have swapped or changed any of these?
It's really difficult to say if I would change any of them. They're all really good food. They really are. And they all have I don't want to say minuses, but they all have their highlights. They all have their pluses. Um, and it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in, is what type of food that I want to get. We definitely have plenty of all 5 of those here in Louisiana. So it kind of depends on what mood I'm in, or what mood my wife is in, to tell you the truth. of what we go and eat.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the five. What did you think of it?
And it was good. I mean, I liked it. It was a good game. I like that.
Well, thank you, thank you. The now ultimately, this is where I like to do the nugget of knowledge, but I think what I want to do here is really utilize this chance to maybe share with those that are watching and listening a nugget about how you were able to seize the opportunity to add some positivity to the online community as a whole. So maybe that others can do similar in, maybe not the exact same way, but in however speaks to them.
Man, it just really, you just have to have some dedication and some sheer willpower to do it. And, and honestly, really don't be afraid to get told no or get ghosted. Uh, I can't tell you how many people or people in places either told me no or would just say, yeah, that sounds fine. And then would just ghost me. Um, and just over time it just gotten easier and easier instead of a battle to find places. It's kind of gotten to a point of now it's okay, well, let me see if I can find a date and a time to squeeze you into the schedule, and kind of like, I told you earlier on in this uh this I say interview, whatever you want to call it, that we had to cancel last weekend's and this weekend's event because of the weather. We're trying different things out, and this coming up weekend, we were going to do a food truck at a local park, but because of the weather that we had last night, and then we're going to have tonight, and then Friday and Saturday, we can't have it. So we're just trying out different things. So you definitely have to keep in mind that you want to try different things. You're gonna have to get out of your comfort zone, but you're gonna find what works and what doesn't work. We've tried to do pre-sale tickets, didn't work. So we just try different things and find out what works and what doesn't work. So I mean, I hate to say this, but you're gonna fail sometimes, but you can't be afraid of it. You have to be able to pick yourself back up and then go back out there and find out what works. Something doesn't work, okay, find another way. Do it. So
Absolutely.
do it. Yeah, you just do it a different way. If that works, stick with it. If you're not happy with it, you think you can do it better, tweak it a little bit. If that doesn't work, either go back to what you were doing or tweak it a little way different. If it improves, great. If it doesn't, then go back to doing what you were doing. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and then don't be afraid to put yourself out there. We just we're doing it so much. We just happened to catch the eye of some local people, and we just the news kind of picked it up. The newspaper picked it up, and it kind of started snowballing from there. Of course, I say snowballing. We are in Louisiana. We don't really see snow except for once every 20 years, but still.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Completely agree there. I think that is a phenomenal way to go about this. You have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable and really continue to push and grow and make it happen. And kudos on you for having this, come together, grow to what it is, and be this amazing outlet of positivity within your community. And I look forward to watching this continue to grow and expand because what y'all are doing there is very cool. You were nominated on the hot seat, so now here's your chance to nominate someone else on the hot seat. So who do you think would make a great guest for the show?
Well, I've been thinking about this the last couple of days, especially last night when we couldn't do this originally, and because we do have two people in the group that you would probably be interested in talking with. One of them is our sauce maker that we have, Miss Chung, and the other one, he I've known him for a while. He also he's been to a handful of the events, actually more than a handful of the events, and he does a line of sauces as well. And he also has a sanctuary that's here in Louisiana. Both of them are kind of some very nice people, some very interesting people, and have a wealth of knowledge in their own fields, along with in the spicy sauce community. So um, it's either one of those two. I don't know if anyone's ever come to you and said, "Hey, I get two, and you can decide." But
Yeah.
if you want me to narrow it down to one from there, but if not, then you
No,
can
you're
flip a
you're
coin.
you're perfectly good there. I mean, I I have had many guests come on and nominate multiple people, so no, there's no real rules or anything behind that.
Okay.
So
So I'd say either Chung or Steven.
all right. Well, Chung and Steven, I'll be reaching out. We'll find a time to have y'all on the show and find out what works best for each of y'all's schedules, and we'll line that one up. And I look forward to having them on, as well as thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to share with others? Plug away anything you want to plug away. This is your chance to kind of do all that right now.
Well, first, I just want to appreciate you for having me on. I do greatly appreciate it. Any extra exposure that we can have is greatly appreciated. If anyone's thinking of starting a group like this, please, if you want any help, any guidance or anything, I'm not the best person in the world, but hey, if you want some help, some guidance, go ahead and reach out to me. I'm an open book. I mean, I'm not going to keep any secrets. I mean, just go ahead, reach out. I'll help you in any way it's possible. Um, I do have a copyright on the Pepper Pals name and the logo, the graphics and stuff like that. But still, I'm very easy to work with, help out and do anything that's possible. Like I said, I don't make any money off of this. I'm just doing it just to help the community, help, our community, help the spicy community and things like that. So I'm not looking to make any money or anything off of this. I'm just trying to help out the community, and I'll help out any way I can.
I greatly appreciate that, and that is the true core as to why the great things you're doing are going to continue to magnify and spill out, and that's the positivity that ultimately the whole community is really built upon and established on, and looking forward to watching that continue to grow. So Steve, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure, and we'll definitely have to do this again, talk more about your spicy adventures that y'all are able to get together, and some of these dishes that y'all have going on. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me, sir.
Steve, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure having you on here, learning about Pepper Pals and all the great positive things that you're doing for the community. Hey, if you want to keep up with Pepper Pals, or maybe you're curious about how something like that or a different iteration of that could fit in your local area, definitely do as he was saying. Get out there, try it. The only way that you're going to be able to really see if this works is by trial and error and really staying dedicated to the process. But I will have the direct links down below for Pepper Pals, as well as the products that were featured here on Hot or Not. So if you want to check those out, go ahead on head down there. Could not do this without y'all. Thank you so much, Swear Nation, for making this what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads. Help continue to grow the channel. Don't forget, new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday night. I want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you've hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out Podvision.io for all those needs, as well as our other sponsor, WebDX.one. If you have an online website, maybe it's out of date, maybe you've fallen out with the person that was managing your website, or maybe it's just not greatly representing you and your business, highly recommend checking out WebDX.one for all those needs. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.